Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Voices for Change 2.0, the only podcast that focuses on mental health while mixing in movies, music, books, sports, and pop culture. Here are your hosts, Rebecca and Joe Lombardo.
Hey, good morning, and welcome to Voices for Change 2.0.
Hey, good morning, guys. We hope you're having a great day, and I do ask for your patience. I have a little bit of a cold, so I'm a little sniffy. I'm going to try and keep the sniffing to a minimum, and God have mercy on my soul.
and if he keeps sniffing, I'm going to punch him in the face, so he'll have even more to worry about.
That's why I'm asking for mercy on my soul.
All right, so before we jump into our interview today, I did want to mention something on a personal level. I wanted to let you know that my little petition that could has gotten over 100 signatures, but I still need many, many more. My petition asks that students in high school and college be given a mandatory mental health and mental illness awareness course. There has been some talk about giving it to even younger kids, but I think that's putting the cart before the horse. Let's get them to notice us, and then we can streamline the curriculum. I will have the link posted on our Twitter page daily, and there's also a page dedicated to it on our show's website, www.voices-for-change.net. So now on to today's topic. We're talking to a young woman today that I have had the pleasure of getting to know on a personal level. Joe hasn't spoken with her as much, but he knows who I'm talking about when I say the name Jenna.
Yep. I'm extremely interested in hearing her story today, and I really hope that in telling her story, we're able to help some people out.
Jenna White is an extremely intelligent blogger, writer, and advocate. She has faced her share of hard times, including the struggles of domestic violence, drug addiction, and not being properly treated for her bipolar disorder. However, today, when I look at her, I don't see any of the negative. I'm getting emotional. Why does this happen to me every weekend? It's got to be a Saturday thing. Every time I start talking about people, I get all choked up.
You're just a big softie.
I'll tell you off, but I'll do it while I have tears streaming down my face.
My little marshmallow.
So I see a beautiful girl with the world at her feet, and I truly think that there isn't anything she can't accomplish. So, as I calm myself down, please welcome our guest today, Jenna White.
Hi, guys.
Hi, kiddo. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, pretty good. Little bit of a cold, but pretty good.
Well, thanks so
yep,
much.
We're hanging in there. How's everything?
I'm good. I'm
absolutely.
having my coffee and just enjoying the morning.
Well, that's good. Do you have any questions for us before we dive in?
No, not that I can think of, but I just want to thank you guys again for having me on the show. And that intro was just so cute.
Oh, thanks. It's our pleasure having you on and getting up bright and early.
No, she's actually
Saturday.
in the same time zone.
I woke up 20 minutes ago. It's bright and early for me.
Okay. All right. We won't argue about the logistics of time zones.
Yeah.
All right. So let's get started. Jenna, can you tell us what your life was like for you? You know, what life was like for you growing up in Canada?
Well, other than the free healthcare and no matter if you got sick, you got to see a doctor probably right away, and your medications were pretty cheap. But living in Canada is awesome. I grew up in Northern Ontario. Ontario is just one of the main provinces in Canada, and this little town called Timmins, Ontario, is where I mainly grew up. and it seems like it's a small town, big city feel, and if you live in a small town, you know so many people, you know everybody's problems, you know everybody's accomplishments, and that was not any different for me. So Canada was great, but it's just the little towns that you have to be careful of, and I've learned that the hard way.
How so? I mean, just with everybody knowing your business. I mean, the good thing is everybody knows your business, but the bad thing is everybody knows your business.
Yeah, like if you, you know, if you got in trouble at school or got into a fight, you know, all the other high schools would find out in a millisecond. If you got into crime or drugs, then pretty much the whole town knew about it within the day. And that, again, was
so
not,
like if you got...
Yeah. Go ahead.
Like you got detention, and the mailman's walking by, oh, I heard you got in the detention, eh?
Basically,
you know?
Yeah, if you were the outcast, then you were the outcast in the town.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's gotta be annoying.
It was.
When did you start to realize that you might be experiencing some issues with mental illness?
When I was about 13. I remember being so active as a child. Like I used to play hockey for 16 years, and at 13, I remember having my first moments of insomnia, where my dad had insomnia. So after about 2 or 3 days of getting up at 5 a.m., being on the ice at 6, going to school all day, going to basketball practice at the end of the day, going to work at the end of the day, and then coming home and not being able to sleep, my parents were pretty concerned, but they thought that it was just hormones. So, you know, I'd stay up for a week, and then I'd crash for a week, and then I'd stay up for another week, and that was even before I started doing hard drugs. So they kind of just put me on I started on antidepressants and mood stabilizers when I was 13 and sleeping medications, but I didn't get properly diagnosed until I was 19, just like Rebecca.
Okay.
So you had, you know, support from family to a degree, but would you say it was consistent support?
Oh, God, no. My dad, who was a Newfoundlander, so he's notoriously known as a stubborn fool, and my mom was born out of the country. So when I started really realizing that I had mental illness, my dad didn't want anything to do with it. When I was going to psychiatrist with Children's Aid Society, he would freak out and throw a huge tantrum like a 2-year-old, and it was just so annoying, and it was too aggressive. You know, my mom was always trying to stay on both sides, but always usually holding my dad's side over mine. But then when he walks away, my mom was, you know, coming around going, "Oh, I'm so sorry he does that." And it was a real big struggle to be myself, even at home.
Yeah, you had to put one facade out for them and then be you the rest of the time, kind of thing.
Yeah, but even with bipolar, like at that age, you don't know you have bipolar, so people don't really know how to act around you.
Right. Right. So what all were you diagnosed with, and are you still diagnosed with the same things today?
Well, when I was younger, because I was not an adult, as both of you would know, you can't really get a proper diagnosis on bipolar until you hit the age of 19, 20, early adulthood. when I was about 13, 14, a child psychologist diagnosed me with Manic Depression, which is, I guess, a flimsy way of saying bipolar. But
right.
And then I was on. I think I had a little. I think they thought I had ADHD. And some PTSD from stuff, but later on, I was on and off medications for about 7 years, and when I hit 19, I put myself in the Toronto, Ontario, one of the big major hospitals there, and that's when I realized that I had bipolar, and apparently all the doctors have agreed that I have it. So hopefully in the next couple of years, I don't decide to change me.
Yeah.
Well, it's something that we have to get used to. Our illnesses are constantly changing and progressing, especially as you get older. You know, obviously your body chemistry changes, and you know, for take an example with me, I've always been claustrophobic, but only to a certain degree. But after Joe and I got married, my claustrophobia it ballooned into this thing that I can't even control now. And I can't even watch someone be in an enclosed space on TV without feeling like I'm suffocating.
Oh,
you know,
wow.
Elevators, you don't even try to put me in an MRI machine. You know, I have to go to the open MRI machine places, and I have to be sedated, and Joe has to be in the room, and it's just so things that go on with us are constantly changing, and you know, don't be surprised if as you get older, some things are added or taken away. It's not a defect in you. It's just how our body chemistry sort of works.
Yeah, it kind of changes over time, and you know, whatever works for you today might not work 3 years from now, or what have you.
Exactly. And of course, as you know, what works for me is, you know, probably not necessarily going to work for you. You know, but just be aware, be as self-aware as you possibly can is my advice to you, because once I started to realize that I could feel when my emotions and my mental status was sort of morphing into, you know, the negative side, I was more able to manage the symptoms. And I could come right out and say to Joe, hey, I think I'm heading downward, you know, downward spiral, but, you know.
Keep an eye out.
Yeah, she gives me a heads up, and
right.
Yeah, and so then I know, you know, if I'm at work and she tells me, I know what I'm coming home to.
Right, and so he knows it's not about him.
Yeah, you know,
exactly.
and I, you know, if she gets upset about something, I try really hard to not take it personally, because I know, you know, it's what she's going through in her head.
Hey, real quick, I just wanted to give a shout out. We have a listener in the chat room. His name is Jeffrey. He's listening in Winter Park, Florida. And Jeffrey is also bipolar. He says that my family didn't understand my situation either. They thought I was being a lazy bum when I couldn't function. Boy, do I have... I
understand
get
that
100%.
Beyond.
Oh my God!
Yep.
I actually had just written a blog about, you know, my mom. I miss her. I love her. She, you know, she was my world. But God forbid if you were laying around and doing nothing while she was trying to get the house cleaned or whatever, you were just a waste of space, and she was not afraid to tell you about it.
Yep.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So we fully understand where you're coming from, Jeffrey, and thank you for joining the chat room, and thank you for listening as well.
I hope something grabs
my
something
next question, Jenna,
from this podcast, Jeff.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. My next question had been for you. Had you been hospitalized for mental illness, but you indicated that you did. Has it been more than once, or was it just the one time?
No, it wasn't just the one time. I've gone 3 times on 3 separate occasions to twice in the Toronto hospital and once in a Stratford, Ontario hospital that I live in. I live in Stratford now. Ironically, I've never been taken without my consent. I've always realized when it was too much, and after the first time of going, I realized how much more attention that I must be paying to my emotions and to my medications and to all the exterior stresses that come with life. It's been a hard road, but if you've never been to a mental ward in a hospital before and it seems really scary, it's not as terrifying as people lay it out to be. They're there for a reason. They're there to help. And granted, some don't have great bedside manners, but still good.
I would agree with you to a degree on that. I think it depends on the hospital and the location.
Yeah.
I had.
Yes.
Yeah, I had one really good experience. I had 2 really horrible experiences. My last experience was terrifying. And you know that you read my story, but
yes.
I think that they're improving. I think that the more that we talk about this type of stuff, the more, people are becoming aware of the situation in these hospitals, but they're getting better, but they still have a long way to go as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, and then,
I really agree there.
Plus, you've got, how Hollywood represents it as well. That doesn't help in any way, shape, or form. It just adds to the stigma of, going and getting help, going and getting hospitalized, doing it voluntarily versus involuntarily. It kind of cracks me up that for as much advocacy as you see in Hollywood from actors and actresses speaking out in real life, then they'll go on and do these movies where it's exactly not that, and people are terrified of the thing, and the stigma just continues. You would think, at some point, one of them will go, hey, wait a minute, guys, you're kind of doing a hatchet job on the mental health community.
Right.
So.
Well, that's what we're here for.
Yeah, exactly. So.
I think that's also
talking about the hospitalization.
Sorry, in Timmins, there's one hospital in Timmins where I grew up, and that has an MHU unit, and it is terrifying to be in there. I have heard horror stories, and I think that's one of the main reasons why I stayed away from putting myself in a hospital for so long, because the stories that came out of this unit basically made people worse, and I didn't want to take that chance.
Yeah, absolutely. It's, seeing what Beck went through with her last hospitalization, it broke my heart when they took her there, and then hearing about it afterwards, and she wasn't there very long, but it scarred her for a long time afterwards.
It still it still has scars left on me.
Yeah.
I'll still wake up in the middle of the night and think that somebody's in the room checking to make sure I'm still in the bed.
Yeah. That's almost 4 years removed now.
Yeah. Just as on a side note, Jeffrey, our friend in the chat room from Winter Park, Florida, he says that he agrees. He's been in clinics 5 times, and some are definitely more scary than others. So, yeah, we couldn't agree with you more.
I guess it's everywhere.
We are going to take
Yeah.
Absolutely. Jenna, we're going to take a quick break, and we will be playing Tara Naomi's You for Me.
Forget all that we learned, we'll forget our plan. We'll say things more clearly in the absence of the light, and we'll realize there's nothing more than this tonight. I got what I want, and I got what I need, and there's nothing in this world but you for me. Yes, I got what I want, and I got what I need, and there's nothing in this world but you for me. Tell me I'm the only one, nobody else could ever come close. Tell me I'm the only one, nobody else could ever come close. Tell me I'm the only one, nobody else could ever come close.
Welcome back to Voices for Change 2.0. I'm Rebecca,
I'm Joe.
and today we are talking to a very good friend of ours, Jenna White. She's an advocate, a blogger, and a survivor. And we're just going to head right back into the questions. And Jenna, you've been very forthcoming in talking about your experiences with domestic violence. Would you like to share some of your story?
It's a long and complicated one. Let's jump into it.
Okay.
I mean, I guess when I was younger, it started with my dad and my parents. Basically, they didn't give me or my brothers a great foundation of love and respect towards your parents to be able to feel that you could go to them through anything. So through the emotional violence that I endured and some physical violence from both sides, I grew up into being a teenager, and my first My first experience with domestic violence was this boy in Timmins. Sadly, I tried to charge him after a party one night. He saw me smoking a cigarette, and he grabbed me by the arm and dragged me into the middle of the street. And basically just he hit me, I fell down, and because it was wintertime, he started kicking my ribs, and he obviously had boots on. In Timmins, his family name was so renowned that when I went to the police station, they said to basically let it go because it wasn't going to go anywhere. So that was a wonderful slap to the face by justice. And then a couple of years later, I ended up moving from Timmins to Toronto with this one individual, him and his son. And I thought he was the one. But when you get into a relationship and there's violence brewing, they usually start with emotional violence. And then they slowly integrate that into sexual and physical violence near the end. And this was no different.
Yeah.
It's
like they're grooming you.
Yeah, they were. He was grooming me, and sadly, it seemed like I'd been groomed for most of my adult life. So I didn't really know the boundaries that I should be laying up, so that never have that happen.
Yeah.
One night, we were getting to major fights before the major incident happened, but it happened on January 31st, February 1st of 2013. I ended up being knocked out by that man, and when I woke up, he was on top of me and he was just slapping me in the face. And what resulted from that is a broken cheekbone. I left the day later.
I'm so sorry.
It sucked, but I'm kind of thankful that I didn't marry the guy, that I didn't have a child with him, that I didn't have more responsibilities with him, that I was able to just pack up a bag and leave. It was wintertime in Canada, and I was abused, homeless, and I had nowhere to go. I had tried calling. I was in college at this point, so when I went back to college to go talk to a program coordinator, she and I discussed going into women's shelters. But again, because it was in the middle of winter, all of them were booked up. And it seemed like I had literally nowhere to go. I didn't know what else to do. I had gone to the hospital. The doctors were worried that because of my fractured cheekbone on my left side that I was going to lose my eyesight because the pressure was almost pushing out my left eye. It was an extreme situation, and I've lost a lot of friends from that moment because a lot of people say they're obviously against domestic violence of any kind, but when you're face to face with it, people run away scared. But I ended up being in having an emergency stay at the college for a couple nights, and then for the rest of the month I was couch hopping. It was a really scary couple of months.
I can imagine. I mean, I have dealt with not as much of the some physical, but more emotional and mental abuse in relationships. And I know what a struggle that is. So I can only imagine, having that severe of an injury on top of having to reconcile the fact that this person that you thought you loved is not who they said they were, and then you had no place to go on top of that.
Yeah, and you find when you have a traumatic event happen in your life, you really find, who really has your back and who doesn't. And, it's hard. I remember when Beck went through her thing in 2013 and the amount of friends that she lost and family that kind of turned their back and stuff. And, it's hard to see, but, it's also a thing where you're like, all right, well, you don't want to stick with me through this. I truly see you for who you are now. Goodbye.
It's like the glass shatters right in front of your face, and you see them for what they are.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Right. When you were going through all this, did you ever deal with suicidal feelings?
Oh, absolutely. Actually, that night, after it happened, I did attempt suicide. I remember that night so vividly, like it was yesterday. And as scary as that is, it's actually pretty relieving to know that I didn't block it out, so that it didn't, it wouldn't come up in repressed emotions later on in life. But after the incident, I remember going to my bedroom and grabbing all the pills that I had, and I just downed them. I went and I got liquor, and I just put them all in my throat, and that was that. I guess it was half an hour later when they started kicking in, and he saw what happened and ended up just sticking his fingers down my throat and making me throw up so that I didn't die. So it was a very strange event. I felt so like battered and bruised and heartbroken and devastated that I just wanted it all to end, and to have the same man who did that save my life essentially in the same night. It just made the emotions that much stranger.
Yeah, absolutely. An internal struggle beyond words right there.
It's a strange dynamic.
Hey, I just wanted to let you know, Jenna.
Yeah.
Jenna, Jeffrey from Florida, he wants to tell you that how sorry he feels for you, and that it was more than domestic of violence. It's criminal assault, and he thinks that you are very brave.
Thank you, Jeff. It was criminal, and I did try to charge him after that. After I left the day after, he told me obviously not to talk to my parents, not to talk to the cops, and as stupid, as just so stupid as I was, I didn't call the cops for 20 days. And one morning I woke up after, 20 days of night terrors and not sleeping and being so acutely aware of my surroundings wherever I went. And I ended up calling the cops, and it went to him being arrested for a couple days in jail. Somebody paid his bail, and a woman actually paid his bail. And he had to go live with her. And when the court date came around, I lost the court case, even though I had. And Rebecca, I don't know if you showed Joe the pictures, but those
yeah,
I
did, and it broke my heart when I saw him.
Yeah, and it was just so depressing because the defense that they used is my bipolar.
Which I find unconscionable. That's absolutely ridiculous.
It absolutely was. But the way they went about it is to put reasonable doubt in the judge's mind. And that's exactly what they did. I thought it was an open and shut case.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody did. But when the defense came up and said, Your Honor, my defendant found Spencer found a diary, and it was my diary. And he used that against me to show that I was unstable. And it put reasonable doubt in the judge's mind
It's ridiculous.
that it wasn't just a open and shut case anymore, that I could have been more influential in that moment than I was letting on. Which, come on, are you serious? I had a fractured cheekbone. I went to the doctors. I went to the hospital. I had documentation. And I still ended up losing.
Not to mention there's when Beck showed me your pictures, I told her this then, and I've felt this way my entire life. Unless your life is truly in danger, and by in danger, I mean the other person has a knife at your throat, has a gun to your head, and you're about to die, there is no excuse for laying a hand on a woman. Certainly not the way you were attacked. Certainly not the way other women have been attacked during the course of life. There is no justification. You get angry like that, you remove yourself from the situation. You don't attack the person that you supposedly love. And if that guy was around me right now, I would beat the hell out of him for you, because it's ridiculous. He should have gone to jail. End of story.
Yep, I definitely 100% agree with that.
You don't do that. You don't lay a hand on a woman. You don't,
and just to add to that point, it's not just women, but it's men as well. Since that moment, I've really understood. Obviously, for a little while, I was, men don't hit women, real men don't do that, stuff like that. But in the larger picture, I shouldn't have just been paying attention to one gender. I should be paying attention to both genders, because as sad as it is, the idea of the domestic violence is no longer just men hitting women. It's now women hitting men, and I've seen, on my personal life, but I have seen men who've come out of relationships with broken arms or broken fingers or broken noses or black eye, just the works, and the women just get to walk away and be like, oh, well, he was going to abuse me, so I did self-defense. Okay, if that was the case, where are your marks?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just
exactly.
It's a weird line that we're crossing when it comes to domestic violence, when we're talking about both genders. I feel like not a lot of people want to look at the women as perpetrators, just out of this social norm of women being the weaker of the two.
Yeah.
Right.
And there's a stigma for men with that too, where they're afraid to come forward because
they'll be looked upon as weak.
Exactly.
Yep.
Oh, this little girl beat me up or whatever. It's like, I got news for you. Have you seen some of the little girls that do MMA? They'd kick my ass handily, So, it's not beyond the realm. It's not.
Well, guys, we've got to take another quick break. We will be right back. And in the meantime, here is Preston Wiggins with Soul Survivor.
A weapon, I got a few with me right now, but I can taste the freedom, release the demons, climbing out from underground. Brand new legs, open weak, there's no stopping me. I believe I can stand. From the ashes I rise up, I'm flying free. Now I know who I am.
Hey guys, welcome back to Voices for Change 2.0. I'm Joe, she's Rebecca, and that lady over there is Jenna. And
Hi.
she's talking to us today about everything she's going through. Hey!
So, Jenna, we're going to jump right back in here with the questions. Where do you find the strength to get through all the pain that you've had to deal with?
I get that question a lot. My personal answer is that the moment that I'm in right now has never been as bad as the moments that I've lived. Any stressful moment that I usually come across, I end up saying to myself, like, it's been worse before. I've been in shittier situations. I've been in more stressful and more damaging and toxic relationships and situations that if I could survive that, then I could survive whatever's happening to me now.
Well, that's a great attitude to have. I mean, that's what we all have to keep reminding ourselves. You know, not even just people with mental illness. Everyone is struggling with something, and we always have to remember that. And you know, when I first started dealing with social media, I would be the first person to jump into an argument and, you know, just tear somebody a new one just because I didn't agree with them. But as I've gotten older and learned to understand the way things work, I realize that everybody's dealing with something, and we have to try to keep that in mind and be a little bit more kind.
Exactly. It's a karma thing, you know, just my own personal outlook, you know, not even bringing back into it. Just for me, I'm a lot more aware of what you put out into the world, you get back in spades. So, you know, I'm trying to be kinder to people. I'm trying to understand, hey, you know what, they're probably going through some crap too. And, you know.
And sometimes you have to realize that they may be taking their issues out on you because they don't know any other way to do it. So, you know, pick your battles and just kind of walk away from it because it's not about you, it's about them.
Yeah. Jenna?
Yep.
What would you say to a young girl that is currently in an abusive relationship? What advice would you give her?
Oh, girl, get out now. Get out before it happens again or even worse than before. I have, out of a total of 5 long-term boyfriends that I've had about 3 to 5, which is a really bad ratio, be abusive. And as much as you think that you can save him or her, you can't. You can't force somebody to save themselves to be better to you. They have to want it. And if they don't, you're going to stay in this terrible cycle of abuse and violence until it takes your life or it takes your charisma. And either one is a loss for you.
Yeah.
Did you realize when you first started blogging about mental illness and the stigma surrounding it that you would one day be considered an advocate?
Oh, God, no. I first started blogging because I wanted an easier way to share my story and to be able to look back on my posts and be like, oh, I was feeling low that day, and be able to put a timeline on my moods. And eventually it just kind of ended up to me being here. And as much as I didn't expect it to happen, I'm so thankful that I'm a part of the fight.
Yeah, and we're thankful that you're here to be a part of it as well, because you're definitely someone that we definitely look up to. So.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. We love you.
Hey, guys. You're making my heart warm.
Aw. That could be the coffee. You have your own website and blog, but what other projects are you involved in?
Well, recently, this wonderful man on Twitter, Ryan Shiloh, I think his last name is, he came to me and he said that he was going to be looking for bloggers for his website called Live Life Alliance. And it's basically just another website that allows people to go research your mental illness or mental differences and be able to read different blogs and contact the creators of the website. They have links to their Facebook, to their Twitter, and it is a wonderful community that I've come to really appreciate because they're all there for the same thing. They're all there to spread the word, to end the stigma, to just bring more light and understanding to people who have, anxiety, depression, bipolar, schizophrenia, anything that affects you on a day-to-day basis.
Absolutely.
It sounds like a good resource.
And once again, when you said that was the Live Life Alliance, right?
Yeah. Yes, I did.
Okay. I know we talked about this the other day. They have kind of a difficult link. They haven't turned it into an official name yet. So
no, not yet.
You can reach that website through yours, right? You can get to it through yours?
Yeah, it's right on the main page there. I put it
on
Live Life Alliance.
Okay, so just so our listeners are aware, your website is www.brandnewbipolar.com, and we encourage you to check it out. Our producer has even recently checked it out and said that he really enjoyed the poetry and photography as well, so you've done a really great job with your site. So we encourage everyone to head over there. And
go check it out.
Yeah, go take a look at it and see how talented our friend Jenna is. Aww. And there'll be a link to the Live Life Alliance. Also, Ryan, if he's out there listening, I hope he is. He is on Twitter at bipolar101. So if you would like to learn a little bit more about him and his website as well, you can reach out to him on Twitter. Jenna, would you like to give out some of your social media information in case anybody needs to get in touch with you?
Absolutely. I'm not giving away my Facebook yet because that's still my personal one. I'm not big enough
that's
to
fine.
make my own. But my Twitter is at Jenna White. Got two little. I see two little. It's like ones right before in between
they're
the
capital
Jenna White.
I's.
Yes, I think so. I can't figure out how to
find
change
out the
that.
hard way when I was when I was tagging you in things. It's capital II, Jenna White, capital II. That's how it took me a little while to figure it out, but I finally got it.
I shouldn't have made it so confusing.
No, that's okay. Believe me, there's a lot more tricky ones out there.
Yeah, way to make it hard for everybody, Jenna. God.
You're welcome.
Did you hear that?
Yes, I did.
Did you hear our little Abby chime in the background?
Oh, guys.
She wants to know why you made your Twitter so difficult.
Yeah, she's not happy with how difficult your Twitter handle is. She was voicing her
And
opinion
I'm just sitting
rather
here going,
loudly about
ha 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 ha.
it.
All right, so we've got a couple of minutes left. Let's throw this question in there. We don't often get to do this anymore. Do you have any, say, maybe 3 films that you kind of use as your, standbys if you're feeling kind of meh?
Kind of down. What cheers you up?
Let's see. There's this one movie that's on Netflix. I hope it's on American Netflix, probably is. It's called Side Effects. It's got Channing Tatum and Catherine Zeta-Jones and a couple other names that you hadn't really heard of before. And it's a great little movie about it almost looks like it's about mental illness, but then it just changes at the last second, and it just takes you on a loop.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we've seen it. It has a very interesting twist.
Yeah.
It's really cool. I also love Quentin Tarantino. I think it's called, it was Django Unchained. That one of Tarantino's just awesome movies. No matter how many times I watch that movie, they always make me laugh. Jamie Foxx, he was just an amazing choice for that role. And I think my last one is a classic. It's The Parent Trap with Lindsay Lohan.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
That movie always gets me going.
That is an interesting array that you're offering there. That's probably the most interesting grouping of films we've ever heard from someone that we wanted to get the information from.
It's funny too that you mentioned Jamie Foxx and Django Unchained because sorry, I don't know if you ever saw A Million Ways to Die in the West, the Seth MacFarlane movie, the Western that he did.
No, I hadn't had the pleasure.
There's a bit. Oh, you gotta see this
it.
movie. It's funny. It is so funny. And there's a bit in there about people dying at the fair, right?
Uh-huh.
So at the very end of the movie, the fair's going on. Jamie Foxx shows up as Django, and
he just has a cameo.
He just has a cameo in it, and he's like, "People die at the fair," and it's just really funny. You gotta take 2 hours or whatever today and watch it.
Yeah, you really gotta check it out. We never cease to laugh our heads off when we see it. So. And one last thing that I just wanted to get out there. Oh no! He's my god. I worship at the feet of Seth MacFarlane. I'm not even kidding you. I'm so he can do no wrong in my eyes. But set that aside. Jeffrey, our wonderful friend in the chat room, I wanted to get this out really quickly. He also has a blog that he would like us to take a look at. But we've got his Twitter handle, and it's an interesting one. It's I hate this UG1. So actually capital I hate this, and then UG, UGH, and the number 1. So that's his Twitter handle. And thanks again, Jeff, for stopping by and listening and joining in our chat room. I hope that you enjoyed the experience. And thank you to Jenna so much for being on the show. We really had a great time talking to you. You're an amazing example of grace and dignity in the face of so many struggles. And we wish you all the best. And you know where to find me if you need me for anything. I'm there for you.
Yeah, and I'm kind of lurking right behind her because it's what I do. It's kind of creepy sometimes. But
I know that you're subconsciously
anyway.
there, Joe, no matter what.
Yeah, I can't get rid of them.
No, I told her the day we got married that she was stuck with me, and 15 and a half years later, she still stuck with me. Yeah. So.
Thank you so much, guys, for having me on. It was a real pleasure and honor, and I'm excited to see where you guys persevere to next.
Oh, thanks.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we're really excited. About this whole thing. It's going great. We love our new network, and we're very, very happy here. And just a quick plug for those of you listening. Next week, we have a very important guest that I'm super, super excited about. If any of you watch the show Hoarders, we're going to be speaking with Dr. Robin Zazio from the show Hoarders. We're pre-recording that show on Tuesday, and it will play on Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time as usual. So if you have any questions for her, get them to us before Tuesday. You can go to our Twitter at voices4change.RJ or our website, and just get us the question so we can have a few to ask her. That'll be great. So, again, thank you to our good friend Jenna. Thank you to Jeffrey in the chat room. And
thank you to you for listening to us.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you to all of our listeners, and we just hope you guys have a great day.
Thanks, guys.
Join us next week as Rebecca and Joe continue to battle the stigma of mental illness. Follow us on Twitter at Voices for Change RJ and on Facebook at Voices for Change 2.0.